That's my third coffee today. Let's get this video started. And welcome back to the Homestead, everybody. I'm Joe, and today we're workshopping names for the homestead here. So we got a couple, and number one is Yurt Mama Homestead, which personally I think is brilliant. That's my idea. What's some good names? Give me some good yurt homestead names. Hit them in the comments. So what we're actually gonna be talking about is turning used stock tanks into raised beds. So we have some stock tanks here that have had water in them and then they froze and expanded, so they no longer hold water. So the next best thing is to kind of turn them into a raised bed, because they're already 3 feet high. So we're gonna be using sticks. We're gonna be doing kind of a Hugelkultur, permaculture type bed. I think Jack over at the Survival Podcast calls them woody beds. But this is our interpretation of them. And do we have any disclaimers, Faye?
So we don't necessarily know what we're doing. We've only done this once before, but it worked out really well. And we got a lot of good comments and a ton of vegetables from what we're doing. So if anyone has any comments or critiques of what we should have done or anything different, commenting on our plants or anything, feel free to drop it in the comments, because we don't really know what we're doing.
All right, let's jump right into this. This is the Anyone Can Farm experience. So step number one, we got a drill bit here, and although these don't hold water, I'm gonna put some more holes in them. That way we know everything's gonna drain. So it pains me a little bit to do this, but I'm gonna drill a hole in this stock tank. Why are we putting this wood in our garden beds? So there's a couple of reasons. And number one, soil needs organic matter to break down to provide nutrient for plants, and wood is a great place to find that. If you are doing this, make sure you don't use pine, because you're going to introduce a lot of acidity to your soil, and pine also doesn't break down real well. So we're using a mix of some cordwood that I cut earlier this summer, and it's a little bit broken down. It's already a little punky, which is good for our purposes. And then we're gonna be using mid-sized sticks and then like little tiny twigs. And so the small ones are gonna break down first, and then the middle, and then obviously the big ones. And another thing that the wood does for us is, as it breaks down, it's going to do a good job at retaining moisture in the soil. So that's always a big thing. If you can retain moisture, that's good. So the logs do a couple of things for us, but that's why we're using them in a raised bed like this.
So the next layer we're going to do is the mulch.
Bark,
Reel
baby.
all of the old grass and the bark and the twigs and all of the sawdust from when we were building and moving into our yurt that we've raked into huge piles and like compost for a couple months in the yard, that we're going to make as our next layer. And this will help keep all of the branches down as well.
All right, so right on top of this, we're gonna do a layer of compost, just pure compost. And that's gonna actually start digesting all this organic matter in here. This is a mix of compost and biochar. And then we're gonna do some topsoil above that mixed with compost to plant directly in. So next goes in our biochar, and this is 100% authentic Baker's Green Acres biochar. I believe it's for sale on the website, so you can go check that out. Link in description. And if you're unfamiliar with biochar, go ahead and click this video that's somewhere up here, and we'll explain exactly what biochar is and why we use it in our soil. So let's dump some of this on. All right, guys, final step. Let's get that topsoil in. Anytime you're putting soil on top of wood like we're doing, it's gonna settle a lot. So it's a good idea to put in like a significant amount more than you think you actually need, because that mound is gonna sink and it's gonna end up being flat. So throw a little extra dirt in there and you will thank yourself.
All right, now we're gonna throw some plants in here.
All right, there we go, guys. Garden bed is done. I hope we were able to show you something that maybe you hadn't seen somewhere. If you see anything here that could be improved upon, go ahead, drop it in the comments. Help us out and help each other out. And from everybody here at Yurt Mama Farms, I don't know, it just has a ring to it. Yurt Mama Farms. I like it. I like it. Nobody else does, but I think it's pretty fantastic. Drop down those suggestions too for the farm name, right? Come on, come on. All right, we'll catch you guys in the next one.